Hello, laser and holography enthusiasts, and welcome to another week of HoloTalk. This is a special broadcast this week. In fact, we have a special guest, Todd Stark, who is Director of Programs and Exhibits for the Discovery Center of Science and Technology in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And as you may recall, if you've listened to our shows in the past, you know for probably 6 or 8 weeks now, we've been talking about a traveling exhibit of lasers and holograms. It's coming to the Lehigh Valley area that's been put together by Pacific Science Center, and we're going to host it at the Discovery Center of Science and Technology. Well, Todd took some time to come into the studio this week and sit down so that the HoloTalk listeners can get first-hand information and some detailed information on what this exhibit is all about. One of the things that we did not touch on, and I promised Todd I would mention, is there's going to be a smaller exhibit that goes along with this. There's a few students in the Lehigh Valley who received a grant to put together a Star Trek exhibit on where lasers and holograms will be in the 24th century, sort of a futuristic look at lasers and holograms. And I just want to let you know that that's going to be included also in the exhibit when you would come out to see the main exhibit. And I had a chance to see the model this week from one of the students. They put a model together when they applied for the grant, and it's very nice. It's a very nice little exhibit that you're going to put together, so don't forget to check out the Star Trek laser and hologram exhibit that runs along with this if you come out to the Discovery Center. Excuse me. So as far as details, Todd's going to fill us in on that, and there's also a link on the HoloTalk page where you can click on that link, and there's a page at the WebZam that I put up today to show you a few pictures that were sent out in the press kit and also give you some more information. And you can get on a mailing list for email list. Every so often we'll send out some information. Perhaps there's special programs that we're going to run, or maybe even a special side exhibit of amateur and hobbyist holograms. And there's a lot of things that can take place between now and when this opens in June. So if you want to have all the latest information, just click on the link on the laser and hologram page, and every so often you'll receive an email which will give you updated information on what's happening. So let's move on to the interview with Todd Stark. I'm not going to come back on at the end, so let me at this time say thank you for tuning in, and here's the interview with Todd Stark. Okay, we're in the studio with Todd Stark, who is the Director of Programs and Exhibits at the Discovery Center of Science and Technology, which is in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Todd, I want to welcome you to HoloTalk.
Well, welcome. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for having me.
We're going to be talking about the new exhibit that's coming into the area, and it's very exciting. If you may remember, we had an exhibit that traveled through this, what we call the Northeast Corridor, probably a few years ago at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, which was lasers, holograms, and virtual reality. And since then, we've been in quite a bit of a dry spell. And it's a wonderful opportunity for everyone in this area to come out and finally have another major exhibit of lasers and holograms in this area. Now, I know you were involved with COSI, which was the touring company behind what the exhibit was in Philadelphia. Is there some comparisons, things that are the same, things that are different, that you could maybe let some of the listeners know about?
Sure. Well, Liquid Vision, which was the official name of that exhibit that was traveled in Franklin, was there about 3.5 years ago on its opening tour. And it's very much centered around the high-tech industry. And oh, by the way, had holograms that it showed. It had a really nice collection of holograms. And that this exhibit here, Lasers and Holograms, traveled by the Pacific Science Center out of Seattle, Washington, focuses more on getting to understand how holograms are created, what you can do with holograms, what their interactions are with lasers, the importance of lasers in our lives, how they work, how to do laser shows and that. So in the area of lasers and holograms, this exhibit here is much more interactive than the Liquid Vision exhibition, which tended to stray more toward the three-dimensional computer graphics and high-tech glitz and that, but dealt very little with the actual holograms themselves.
From what I've been able to see with the promotional materials that I've had, It seems to me that this is happening at just the right time. Some of the past hologram exhibits that had traveled around, such as the one in Philadelphia, and also Images in Time and Space, which did its round in Canada and out on the West Coast, was more of a wow, look at this type of an exhibit. Now I think we're moving beyond that, and we're saying, okay, we've been wowed. Tell us, how is this going to affect our lives? How is this going to affect our children's decision as far as career someday? Can my child go out and actually support a family or whatever it is that they want to do in these fields? And I think that's where we're moving at, and this is definitely one of the focal points of this exhibit, which is called, by the way, Lasers and Holograms, Exploring the Splendid Light, and it's a touring exhibit by Pacific Science Center. And do you want to take a few moments, and do you have an idea of what some of these little interactive exhibits are that the people... Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit, if someone were to come out, and I guess they could spend quite a bit of time going around each and every little station, but what are some of the highlights that they can expect to see if they come out to the Discovery Center?
Right. Well, I happen to agree with you, Frank, on the wow factor for holograms. I think is past. Since we're finding holograms on our driver's licenses and credit cards and that, there are more and more applications for lasers and holograms. There's going to be, I think there's over 18 large-scale holograms, very impressive pictures, some from Holographics North to private producers and that in there. But that's not the focus. That's not the feature of it. It's sort of complementary to the exhibits and hands-on activities that we've got going on there. With this exhibit, we look into the world of fiber optics. Lasers and holograms are linked, of course, really closely, and fiber optics is the next step in telecommunications. It's most of what's carrying the net as it is now, but very few people have a true understanding of what fiber optics is, and that has a huge display on a very large-scale fiber optic piece, allows you to look through it as if you were looking through that glass rod, if you were a light beam going through it. They've got a little kiosk that allows you to mix your own little laser light show. Of course, lasers aren't just professional use, but for entertainment value as well. They have, in the areas of holograms, they talk about what diffraction gratings and diffraction images are, and interference patterns, how they're created and how that helps create the illusion of a hologram. They've got other exhibits that, that deal with everyday applications, lasers and CDs and writable and readable CD-ROMs.
Things that are happening in the background that you don't see is happening with lasers right in your own home.
Exactly. One of the other exhibits that had traveled with it, but for technical difficulties in there, was a barcode reader from a supermarket.
Oh, okay.
And that, another application of lasers. So the kids are really going to get in and interact with several different smaller scale components dealing with different facets of lasers and applications of lasers in their everyday lives, and the creation of holograms. They have a holographic table that allows you to literally trace a actual laser beam throughout it.
I see. In the making of a hologram.
In the making of a hologram. You can look through it and see the hologram image being made on the plate. They've got another one where you can study how lasers are used to test and measure things. They've got a steel plate, the laser beam goes out, and if you press on the plate, you can actually see it, the calibration change.
Oh, that's interferometry.
Interferometry, yes, thank you. And that's covered as well. So there's a lot of great little application. It's going to be a really fun, glitzy exhibit, and we hope to complement it with some wonderful programmatic aspects that we'll be developing over the next couple months.
Well, maybe we should touch a little bit on what information you have now about some of the educational programs that will be available. The Discovery Center of Science and Technology is very dedicated in not just having students come in and see science, but experience it and show them how they can move on later in their life as far as career decisions. And I understand you're going to be running a series of summer programs that will center right around careers of science and technology, and will also include the careers of lasers and holograms during that week. Could you tell us a little about that?
That is correct. We're running, of course, our week-long summer camp, as many institutions like ourselves do throughout the country. This year we're focusing on become a scientist for a day, and we've picked several different scientist careers, biologists, chemists, zoologists, geologists, of course, laser and holographers, computer specialists, and we're going to explore those through wonderful hands-on interactive activities, experiments, games throughout the week, and we're kind of devoting half days to a series, a number of different careers, and it's sort of just to get the kids what their appetite's into. You know, if I want to grow up and I want to be a scientist, what kind of cool things can I get involved in? Mm-hmm. And as you said, lasers and holograms is going to be featured during part of that day, and hopefully the kids will get a better understanding of what it takes to make a laser or to make a hologram. Mm-hmm. You know, what kind of things? How can they make money? You know, using lasers and stuff if they think that's really cool. So exploring those avenues with our 6 to 12-year-olds is where we're headed with that.
Okay. I'd also like to point out to people that some of the holograms that are going to be on exhibit, believe it or not, didn't start out as just holograms, but began during the photographic process with traditional photography, which are called holographic stereograms. So if you're a photographer or part of a 3D stereo group, which seem to be cropping up and becoming very popular lately, you definitely want to stop over to the Discovery Center and see some of these, because some of these holograms originally started with a photographic process, not just holographic. A series of photographs are taken from different perspectives, and then those photographs are processed in the traditional manner, as some actually are used with digital technology, but they're then brought into the laboratory, and all those different perspectives are actually digitized and brought into the holographic process, where you have a three-dimensional hologram as the final product. So this is not that far away from photography, and I know we have a lot of photography clubs and amateur and hobbyist photographers out there, and I'm sure that you would be absolutely thrilled to see what's possible to do with your own camera and then have those pictures made into a three-dimensional hologram. The dates, would you like to tell us about dates and times, hours of operation, and how we can get in touch with you if you want some more information? I know we're going to put some information on the web. There's going to be some information right at the Webseum for everybody coming through, and the Discovery Center also has its own site. So, Todd, why don't you fill us in on how we can get more information on this?
Sure. The Lasers and Holograms exhibition will be running this summer. It will open up on Saturday, June 6th. To the general public, and will run all the way through Sunday, September 13th. So be here all summer. Your chance to check it out. You can catch us at the Discovery Center Tuesdays through Saturdays, 9:30 to 4:30, and Sundays 12:30 to 4:30. We're very reasonably priced in the center of the valley. Of course, we've got the regular Discovery Center exhibits. And you can get in at adult price is $450, kids under 12 are $350, and children 3 and under are free. The Lasers and Holograms exhibition will cost just an extra $1.50 per person. Okay. And of course, while you're there, you can also check out our laser show that we're producing. This year, we've managed to through a funding source, get some upgrade and some equipment, allows us to do some animated programs. So we're going to be doing a laser light show. We're producing it right now as an amateur laser show producer. This is coming quite a learning experience.
I've seen some of the stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and it is amazing what they're able to do nowadays. We'll be telling the story of how laser shows are made through the actual laser show itself. And
there you go. There's a unique use.
Educational. We're not just doing it to rock music. We're going
to be just Pink Floyd people.
No, it's
you come out with a learning experience and be entertained at the same time.
And that's what we're trying to do with it.
Okay, I was going to get to the laser. What I want to let people know, and I don't know if they know this or not, but believe it or not, if you live in the New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. corridor, you can get to the Discovery Center of Science and Technology without even experiencing a red light until you're only several blocks away from the actual center. Of course, you would get on 95 North, and we'll have some specific directions for you. But I know a lot of times with summer traffic, construction, all these other things, and people just say, look, this trip is just too long, don't worry about it. Once you're on 95, unless you want to stop to grab something to eat or you choose to stop, you will not even experience a red light until you're, about 3 blocks away from the center?
That's just about right.
Yeah, so it's almost door to door. So no excuse if you live far away, jump in the car and come on up. Okay. The laser light show we had a laser light show there. It was a laser light show that I guess low scale is a good word for it. I can't think of the term, but it produced all those little Ligerius patterns and whatever. And L. Michael Roberts is actually going to be a guest on the show, so he'll probably be able to tell us what these things mean in a couple weeks. But the laser light show that they have now is a professional system that's done through a computer system and runs very high-speed scanners and is capable of drawing out animations and words and telling stories, and it's all part of your experience when you come to the Discovery Center. And like we said before, it's not just an entertainment experience, but you learn something, and believe it or not, a lot of times you go out in the car and you hit yourself in your head and you didn't even realize you learned it. And you did. So any closing remarks you'd like to make to the HoloTalk listeners before we head out here?
Well, I think for any of the hologram enthusiasts, I think a trip to the Discovery Center to see this collection of holograms, and hopefully complemented by some other amateur holography, amateur and professional holograms that we'll hopefully have there, will make a very rewarding and very worthwhile experience for anyone that is in the holography business or holography interests and lasers and that. And the Discovery Center is not just for kids; it's for kids of all ages. Anyone that's a kid at heart and loves to learn and loves to look at wild, cool, neat stuff and actually learn a little something along the way.
Okay, and before I say goodbye to Todd, I'm going to add one more thing to this, and that I hear a lot of times emails from people, what's happening with holography? Where can I see holograms? There's nothing happening in the area with holograms. Here's your opportunity, and who knows when it's going to happen again. So if you don't come up and see this show, don't send me any emails whining about the fact that you can't see any holograms anymore, because I'm just going to delete them. I'm not going to even answer them. Now's your opportunity. If you don't take advantage of it, shame on you. So, Todd, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks a lot, Frank.
And we look forward to this. And personally, a thank you from me for giving lasers and holograms an opportunity to come into the area for people to experience it. And thank you from the HoloTalk listeners as well. Take care.
Thank you.